And it is on.
Welcome to the Savage Sports Pod, where we will be doing our weekend NCAA NFL recap.
Yes,
Griff,
sir.
I know it's in your system. Go ahead and get it out. Go ahead and get it out of your system.
Nah, I'm gonna wait for that one. I'm gonna wait for that one. We
No,
going college first.
no, I want this out of your system.
Man, it's gonna take a while. So, how do I even start this? How do I even start it? So, the winless Jets,
How you
number
doing,
one,
JD?
number one
Thank
draft
you very
pick
much.
for next year, winless, completely winless, manages to throw the game every single time, no matter how much of a fight they put up. And then we got the Rams, division leaders, fighting for a playoff spot, knocking off Seattle, Arizona, other big teams. And then they lose to the Jets. To the Jets. Oh my God. To the Jets.
Get it out. Get it all out. Get
I
it
mean,
all.
I'm just saying, we got to go back about roughly 6 weeks when my Titans, they end up losing to the Bengals. The Bengals that had Joe Burrow. Now, who do the Jets have? Nobody. Nobody. They traded away their whole team, their offense, their defense, working with Flacco, Sam Darnold, who was almost a bust in his career while he's at the Jets, got rid of Robbie Anderson to Carolina Panthers, and then you have the Rams with a up and down Jared Goff, a rookie running back, the the Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, one of the most dominant beast mode defensive lineman in the NFL. And then you have an offense that is backed up by Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods in the tight end, who has become one of the top 10 top 10 tight ends in the NFL. And y'all lose to the Jets out of all teams to the Jets. Not only did y'all lose, now at one point in the game, did y'all maintain the lead? Y'all played from behind the whole game. The whole game. Not just like one quarter, the whole game. And then what is the outcome? Somebody loses the lead position in their division. Definitely not a playoff team. Definitely not a playoff team.
Not losing to the Jets. You're not.
Nope.
We're gonna
Nope.
touch on this more later, but I just wanted you to get it out of your system because I do have some thoughts on this, but we will touch on that more later.
Scott Belcher, yes, you are right. I am enjoying this. Yes, is it bad for the Rams in the long run? Yes, it is. But to rub this in Sam's face right now, oh, that hit on Evans, that hit on Cooper, it don't mean jack squatting right now. You got beat by a 36-year-old running back.
Get it all out.
Wait. Even better. Where's that running back from? Frank Gore? Where he come from?
I don't even want to talk about
Where
that.
he come from?
Who cares?
Jets. Jets. You are right, Josh Barker. You are right.
Josh Parker's never right because he cheers for that weak ass Saints team that refuses to play Jameis.
Look, it doesn't make a difference if they have one Florida State person on their team in the Saints. Rams got two, and they still lost, so it wouldn't matter. All right. I'm done ragging. I'm done ragging. My bad. I got out the system now. Jets. Um, so let's go ahead
You
and
know
you
what?
know.
I'm glad I didn't find a Tennessee mini helmet for you. I was gonna buy that for you and send it to you for Christmas, and I'm glad I didn't find it.
Look, it's not my fault. Your team let you down, man. It's just what it is. It might be the Sam curse, like Chris said, and I hate to give Chris any kind of credit whatsoever, but I
No,
mean,
no. hold on. We ain't gonna talk about no curses because I want to show some folks something. I want to show some folks something since you want to bring up the curse.
Hey, I lost. I ain't
What's
gonna lie.
what's that say? What's that say, Griff?
Jets, Jets,
Hey,
Jets.
he's like Thanos, snapped him out of the playoffs.
It happens. I lost in the playoffs. Yes, I did.
Now,
Is That's my curse. That is literally my
who'd you
curse.
lose to? Who'd you lose to?
Stephon Diggs.
Who did you lose to? Who is the head
Stephon
coach?
Diggs.
You disappoint me.
Sam got me. He did get me. The one game he got me all year long, he got me. The one that counts the most. I can't lie. But that's all right because my Titans won. But since we're already on the NFL, anyhow, we'll say the college for a little bit. So Green Bay, they're pretty much clinching their division. It's almost a given. Now, the only downside for Green Bay is they do have to go play the Titans next week, and the Titans are at the top of their division also. So we're looking at the end of this whole season being division finals pretty much for everyone. Whoever wins is pretty much going to stay in the lead. But if they lose, another team wins, it's easy to be a flip flop in that sense. Now, on the plus side for the Packers, apparently my Titans defense is abysmal, regardless of the turnover ratio that they do have. They give up so many big plays, especially in the secondary. I don't understand it. I can't comprehend it, and it apparently gives me a heart attack almost every single week. Lone spot, their offense is clicking, except I do not understand Mike Vrabel's decision not to let Derrick Henry run with the ball. I got it that you want to let your rookie running back, Darren Evans, or Darrington Evans, who finally came out this year at the end of the season, got his first touchdown, a couple of big runs and everything, which is good for him. But let the boy eat.
Green Bay struggled though.
Yes, they did.
Struggled against a weaker Panther team. Y'all have to
Yes.
excuse me. I got my two laptops going. I wasn't able to watch football all weekend. I ain't gonna name no names. I'm not gonna point out why I wasn't able to watch football all weekend, but I had to take the love of my life, the my heart and soul, my reason for breathing. I had to take her shopping, so it was worth it. Completely worth it that I missed football. I'm just joking. She's sitting over here beside me thinking I'm being serious, but I love her to death, and so I'm having to keep update on the scores.
Can't blame me for that one. Can't blame me for that one. It happens. It happens. But yes, it was a good week. I will say this much. I will say this much. Um, Green Bay did struggle, and their defense lacks their defense. All right, Carolina Panthers have not necessarily been a bad team all year long. They
No,
haven't closed out though. That's the issue with Carolina. They have not closed out. Do they got a whole bunch of playmakers? Sure. Are they missing their primary playmaker every single week? Yes, they are. Christian McCaffrey has been sitting out this whole year almost since like game 3 or 4. So that's hurt them. Now, that's not a knock against Mike Davis. Mike Davis has still been doing his thing and helping them to get a couple of wins and at least providing them some spark on their offense. But they still do not have a number one receiver. It's an up and down game between Samuels and Moore. And neither one of those are actually consistent. It's either their own or they're off. Therefore, lacking what Carolina needs to finish off a game. Now, it did look like the Packers were going to take off initially and just blow them out the water, since how they put up 21 points like that. And then next thing you know, Carolina's in the game. So, Packers, you're probably going to have your hands full next week if you do not stop Henry. Your plus side is you do have one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. Actually, right now, this year, you probably have the top quarterback in the NFL if we're going old schoolers in Aaron Rodgers. And then you have Devontae Adams, who he can get the ball to, which both of them let me down this week.
true, true. So it looks like moving on. It looks like Dallas put a whooping on San Francisco. It was a good game. It looks like 41-33 Dallas. Andy Dalton, mad props. Still
Hmm.
got it a little bit. They did it without Zeke.
Yes, they
Zeke's hurt,
did. Yes, he
so
is.
mad props to them. But here's something I want to talk about. Tom Brady struggling against the Atlanta Falcons, 31-27 win for Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay should be dominating everyone they play.
Yes, they honestly should. I don't under Atlanta. First game of the season, loses to the Cowboys while Dak Prescott was still there in a shootout that literally depended on Dallas getting the ball back on an onside kick, and they literally let Dallas have the onside kick and end up losing. Atlanta, who continuously gets in games and almost blowing out teams, and then they pull a Super Bowl repeat and just give the other team the win. It honestly makes no sense. Like I don't understand how Tom Brady isn't really dominating anyway.
Well, I got to agree with what Scott Belcher and Ty Bass are saying in the chat right now. I'll start with Scott's comment. He said Arians is overrated. And then Ty said the same issue as the Eagles in the early 2010s. No chemistry, all talent. I agree with that, Ty. Fully agree.
I won't argue with that one. No O line, but it shouldn't matter if he has the O line or not. I mean, if he's getting 2 to 3 seconds to sit there and find his receivers, 40 yards can be ran in 4 seconds point blank. But if you're sitting there throwing the ball, by the time you sit there and get the 2 or 3 seconds, the receiver can be 40 yards down the field. It shouldn't take him that long to throw a slant, which takes a whole zero point 0.2 seconds for the receiver to actually even possibly get open. So, do I
Can
really want to blame?
can someone get me the phone number to the Browns organization? Why is Nick Chubb not in right now? I want Griff to be blowout of the week. Somebody get on the horn and tell them they better run Nick Chubb. Sorry, I'm upset tonight.
It doesn't make a difference if he gets 1 second or 2 to 3 seconds. If that is the case, leave your leave your running back in there, and you have three not halfway decent receivers. You have three almost great receivers to throw the ball to. It doesn't have to be deep balls. It can be slants. It really doesn't even matter. But if he's saying he only got 1 second to throw the ball, then
Guys,
whatsoever.
we went through this. They should have never got Brady. They should have kept Winston. You want to throw this old Winston through 30 interceptions bull crap at me all day. Jameis Winston is a good quarterback. Tom Brady is not as mobile as Winston. So guess what? He's getting eat up every game by that weak O line play. Jameis was at least fighting for his life, scrambling, throwing. It was 50-50. He was either going to throw it to the wrong team or he was throwing the touchdown. So, you know,
True.
you should have kept Jameis and you shouldn't have wasted that money on Brady. And you should have used that money to invest in a better offensive line.
I mean, I won't necessarily disagree with you. Is Tom Brady washed up? Pretty much, yes.
Brady's washed.
Now, this is my issue that I have. This is why I cannot necessarily blame their offensive line. Has Brady been getting sacked? Yes, he's probably got sacked more this year than he has in his whole career. Got it. But if Brady can always manage to come back in the second half and make the game at least and give the Bucks a fighting chance, I can't sit there and blame his offensive line, nor can I blame Brady point blank. The first half has to be Brady or it's Arians. It's one or the other because they're never getting blown out besides by the Saints.
True.
And they always end up managing a way to either win at the end or come back to give themselves a chance to win at the end. So you tell me what is the issue? It can't necessarily be the O line's fault completely. So to me, that comes down to Brady or Arians.
I think it comes down to Arians. But we'll move on. We'll move
True.
on from that. Here's a shocker of a game, one that I thought would go the Vikings' way. The
Ooh,
Chicago Bears topple Minnesota 33-27.
what team was that?
The Chicago Bears.
Did you say the Bears?
The Bears. Where your boy Hector at tonight? He
I
ought to
don't
be.
know. He probably sleeping and everything. You know, it's getting close to Christmas and everything, so he's got to get ready to get his sleigh ready. He's gonna kill me for that one later on, but
Baltimore, they blew out Jacksonville as they should. Tennessee blew out Detroit as they should. Miami and a slobber knocker with New England, 22-12.
which we figured that was gonna happen though.
Let's look at some stats here. Let me see. Let Sam look at some stats and see what Tua turned the ball over did today.
Well, I mean, you gotta put it like this. We did talk about that one on Thursday. Miami versus New England. Miami always manages to give New England a run for the money, even when they have Brady back there. Um, but it's Cam. No Harris, no receivers, at least no proven receivers. I think besides Edelman, who that dude has been non-existent this year, though. He really, really has. So I mean, Miami, yes, I expected them to win this the way they've been playing this year, regardless if it was Tua or if it's Magic. Either way it goes, still should have been Fitzmagic over Tua, in my opinion. But hey,
Where the damn stats at for this? Excuse my French.
that's how
I
bad the game was. There don't
see,
need to be any stats.
I see there was an interception thrown by Miami. Old Tua turned the ball over after a 9-minute drive. That boy ain't worth nothing.
Yeah. Scott Belcher, I'm on ignore it. Left, which is a joke, is no C. Yes, he technically is. He is one of those Jacksonville Jaguars products. Um, wasn't necessarily good as a player, but wasn't necessarily bad. I think he got the short end of the stick when it came to Jacksonville when he was down there. So, yes, does he need to be an offensive coordinator? Probably not. Defense, elite talent. I would give you probably about three players on the team that is elite talent. But back to the Patriots. Yes.
I mean, we knew they were going to lose.
Yeah. They
Cam's no longer Cam. Can
no.
we say Can we say that finally? Cam's no longer Cam.
That is true. You
I
know
mean,
what?
he dresses good. He's got a good wardrobe. He just ain't a quarterback.
What? That's true. The Patriots prior to this game, they were giving up 19 sacks a year. All right. So can't blame them on the offensive line. Can't necessarily blame that on Cam Newton. Now, I take that back.
I've been corrected. Sorry, Griff. I hate to interrupt you, but I've been told that he dresses well. I
Who,
should have
Cam
said,
Newton?
yes, he dresses well. That's the sentence I should have used. I've been corrected by my English major over here.
I got you. I got you. All right. Look, they have a bottom.
Or just beat the Raiders.
Yeah, they do. But their offense is in the bottom and passing in 29. Rushing yards, they do rank fifth. That is the difference. Now, Cam had been completing 66.1% of his passes, but he's been throwing one TD to two interceptions. All right. He isn't throwing any touchdowns. He's throwing more interceptions than touchdowns. And on top of that, how many running backs does New England have? Like five?
None that are any good.
Okay. So
Damian Harris is all right if he gets going.
So you got him and you got Rex Burkhead and you got James White, right? Normally James White and Burkhead have been there for a while. So you tell me how your quarterback is second on the team in rushing. And you had no receivers that had over 600 yards receiving all year long, and you're at game 14, and your receivers haven't cracked 600 yards. The Patriots suck. It's that simple. I'm gonna say they got lucky when they beat the Raiders, all right. But it's any given Sunday, it does happen.
Well,
But
hell, The Chargers just beat the Raiders, so
That's true.
the Raiders ain't who we thought they were.
No, and the Jets beat the Rams. The Rams ain't who we thought they were either. But
All right, I'm ready to touch on that. I'm ready to touch on that. After this season, it is. Are there any Rams fans in here? If you're a Ram fan, please comment because I sent a lot out to the Rams. Steven Schaefer, I hate you right now. Jared Goff needs to go. Sean McVay's offense needs to go. You've got too much talent. Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp.
Schaefer.
Schaefer's my illegitimate son, and he's talking to daddy the wrong way. They look like an all-pro team today, Ty Bass. I hate you. Anyway, back to my point. Give me a trade down to New Orleans. Get Jameis Winston down to Los Angeles, and let's win us a daggum Super Bowl.
Unless they play the Jets.
I hate you so much right now. I hope Derrick Henry gets a hernia.
Hey, he's still gonna run over people, but they probably won't lose to the Jets though.
It's the play calling, man. Why did our defense give up 23 points to the Jets? I mean, did we overlook the Jets? Did we not prepare for the Jets? Why did we lose to the damn Jets? Of all the teams to lose to, the Jets. Because Washington beat Seattle. Seattle beats Washington today. That gives them first freaking place again in the damn West. And we lose to the gosh darn Jets. Where are my Rams fans at? I know I shared. Rams fans, y'all come talk to me. Tell me how you feel. Jared Goff is crap. I'm tired of his play. I'm tired of his interceptions. I'm tired of Jared Goff. I'm tired of Sean McVay and his bull crap play calling. Screen. You got Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp and Josh Reynolds who can beat men downfield. Why are we throwing screens? Is it because you don't trust Goff? That's got to be the reason you don't trust Goff to get the ball down the damn field.
Oh man.
Cam Akers did play a good game today, dude. Hats off. I don't know his stats. Let's see if I can find them. But Cam did play a really good game today. He from what I saw, he rushed pretty good.
I'm just saying, if your running back is doing good, you know what I'm saying, they should be winning anyway. I mean, look at the Titans running back. Derrick Henry puts up numbers, they win.
It's true. It's true. Sean McVay and these screens, man. I'll never understand.
Sam, you ain't gonna win this. You about to just hate today point blank. Ty Bass. The Broncos, the most dysfunctional team in the league. Debatable.
Ty Bass. All right, so Steven Schaefer and Ty Bass want to talk trash. I got 48 reasons that the Broncos are trash.
Destroyed the Jets with a fourth string quarterback.
Can I please get some Ram fans in here to back me?
Look, Michael Murdoch's trying to help you. He's saying the O-line doesn't give Goff enough time.
Let's see. Since we want to talk, since I got Broncos fans talking, Buffalo 48, Denver 19. Get some of that.
That's not really helping your cause right there.
Cam Akers did have a good game today. 15 carries, 63 rushing yards. Of course, they played from behind the entire game, so they moved away from the rushing aspect. Goff went 22 of 34, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns. And what's he good at? Throwing some mother interceptions. And I bleep myself, but I'm upset. Mama Griff, if you're watching, I love you, Mama Griff. I'm sorry I talk like that.
Buffalo wasn't 0-12. Say this is gonna be rough.
I ain't got a single ass. All them Rams groups I shared into, and I ain't got a single one in here backing me up. Steven Schaefer,
man.
where's my admin at? Vanessa, I need you to ban Steven Schaefer and Ty Bass. Ban them.
It ain't happening. All right, fine. Let's go off these Rams. All right.
Moving on from the
So,
losing Rams. So we did have some Saturday games, which was Green Bay and Carolina and Denver and Buffalo. Of course, Buffalo handled business, and you know you got to be kicking yourself in the ass if you didn't draft Josh Allen right now, and you had the opportunity to.
well,
Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the league, hands down.
at least this year on a consistent basis, yes, he honestly is right now. He honestly is. I mean, the couple games they lost, one to the Titans. Who was the other one? Was it Raiders? No.
And Denver's
Pittsburgh?
defense they're not a joke. You know, they're playing poorly because they're playing behind a bad offense. But Josh Allen went 28 for 40, 359 yards, 2 touchdowns. Just to throw this out there for Griff, just in case he was wondering, Stephon Diggs, 11 receptions, 147 yards. Cole Beasley, 112 yards, 8 receptions. The Rams are the Bills are the real deal, folks. I'm picking the Bills to go to the Super Bowl. Does anybody in the chat disagree with that? If you disagree with the Bills going to the Super Bowl, I want to hear you. I want to hear from you.
I disagree.
Well, you don't count.
Who are they gonna play in the Super Bowl?
In the NFC?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Green Bay.
All right, good. Because if he's going to say the Rams, I was about to say not.
No, the Rams are a playoff team. The Rams are what you get, but until they make quarterback changes, it's over.
Oh, man. Yeah,
And
no.
I want Jared Goff gone. I traded him on Madden. He pissed me off so bad.
Wisest decision you ever made, but worst decision you made as far as getting Jameis Winston.
Because I got Jameis Winston and the motherfucker. Sorry, Joker threw 4 interceptions the next game and made me lose to a turn the ball over. I lost to the daggone Dolphins.
Isn't that user control?
I don't want to talk.
So, yes. All right. Alan,
I play on the hardest level of Madden.
Rookie? All right, I quit, Sam. I quit. I quit. I couldn't help it. I had to go in on this one today. I still can't get over it, though. So let's go back to Josh Allen. Josh Allen has been putting in work. I cannot disagree with that one. He really has. All the games he's lost has been the teams that honestly have winning records. So, yeah, he should be up in that race as far as MVP goes. Honestly, he's a little bit upset still.
Josh Allen should be our NFL MVP this year.
Probably will. The only way he would not be is if Mike Vrabel stops holding back Derrick Henry and lets the boy run. Because if he actually let him run, like, what was it, the whole fourth quarter? Almost, or at least 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, he took Henry out for the most part and didn't really let him touch the ball anymore, and then started doing bootlegs and everything else. If Henry would actually run the ball in the fourth quarter, the dude would have broke 200 yards easily.
Very true.
I mean, but that's the difference right there, right now, too. Though they're hamstringing them. I guess they're possibly saving them for the playoffs. A little bit of less wear off on his body, especially when they're up either way. But you could at least let the dude get 156 yards, what he needs on an average to break 2,000 at the end of the season. It's not a guarantee he's going to get the rest of the yards overall. I mean, more than likely he may, but so be it. But enough about Buffalo. We hit Miami. The Colts came in. Well, Houston came into Indy and started giving Indy a run for the money. Indy apparently pulled it off 27-20. Now the downside is
Juju
every
ain't no MVP, Miss Jackson. Go on out of here with that.
oh, he's behind Claypool. I can't even agree with you on that one, honestly. That's not even the close run up. Juju is second runner up to Claypool right now. And Claypool doesn't even hit the list for MVP. Maybe a rookie of the year, and he still ain't getting that one because he's behind Justin Jefferson at the least bit. And that dude was in Minnesota. Speaking of Justin Jefferson, that dude cussed Kirk Cousins out today. Happy about it. Happy about it.
I'm gonna piss all the chat off today. The Steelers ain't gonna make it past the first round of the playoffs. Miss Jackson ain't no Juju, nothing. Juju is
Ooh.
nothing.
Ooh.
I said what I said. Well,
Yeah.
Cliff, are we about wrapped up on the NFL side, or anything else you want to touch on, or would you like to hit some of this college football?
Last one I want to touch on. We'll hit on it more on Thursday, but with the Rams losing today, Seattle winning, and Arizona winning, that throws that division into another conundrum. Now, all it is going to take is possibly Seattle to lose one, and the Rams and the Cardinals sit there and win, and that's going to come down to the tiebreaker on who actually won against who at that point in time, and that's going to decide who's going to the playoffs. So that division needs to stand by. Along with the NFC East right now, it is Washington in the lead, I believe, as far as the NFC East goes. But Giants still have a chance. Apparently, the Cowboys got a chance. They won their first two games back to back. And the way they're playing against Cleveland right now, I don't even know what to tell you. It might work. I don't think Baker is bringing what he brought against the Titans that day.
No, I don't think Baker. I don't think the Browns make it past the first round of the playoffs either.
You started a whole bunch of drama right there with the Steelers. But yeah, that's about all I got on them. I mean, Pittsburgh and Cincy on Monday. Pittsburgh should be Cincinnati, but the Jets beat the Rams. So is it a possibility that Cincy might knock out Pittsburgh? 95% chance no.
There we go. There we go. Facebook was attacking me because I pissed off the chat with the Steelers. Zuckerberg must be a Pittsburgh fan. All
He
right,
might be.
guys. We are going to jump into what I love, college football. So, the playoff race. Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Clemson. Number 3, Ohio State. Number 4, Notre Dame. So,
I got you.
the matchups would be Alabama versus Notre Dame, Clemson versus Ohio State. But we'll circle back to that. We'll talk about these conference championship games this weekend. So, as we all know, Washington couldn't field a team to play for the Pac-12 championship. Oregon filled their spot. Oregon beat USC 31-24. Oregon's record is 3-2, and USC's undefeated little 6-game season brings them down to 5-1 now. Purdue, Indiana got canceled. ACC championship. What we knew was gonna happen happened,
Yes,
and
it
that
did.
is Clemson and Sunshine beat the snot out of Notre Dame. Then we've got this little bitty little bitty high school conference championship. I believe they call it the Big Ten. Ohio,
Boo.
Ohio State 22, Northwestern 10. Uh, we had some makeup games. Texas A&M did what they were supposed to do, and who I believe should be in the playoffs. But we'll get back to that. They beat Tennessee 34-13. The Big 12 championship, though, the shocker. Me and Griff were both wrong on this. Oklahoma 27, Iowa State Cyclones 21. Me and Griff both had uh, Iowa State winning this game, and they did not do it.
This is
And
why I can't
last,
side with you. You be giving bad karma and juju to my teams, man. Iowa State was killing everybody while you was rooting against them. You did this. It's your fault.
let's see, Cincinnati won their conference championship over Tulsa 27-24. And last but not least, uh, I'm a little shocked by this one.
A little bit, Murdoch.
The SEC championship game, Alabama 52, Florida 46. Did Florida expose some weaknesses that Alabama secondary has? I believe they did. Um, I did not expect it to be this close. I expected Alabama to come out and walk the dog on the Gators because I bumped the Gators. All right, anytime the Gators lose, I'm having a good day. Roll Tribe, baby. You know what I mean? But
Mm, don't
that
get me
was
started on them.
a lot closer game than I thought it was going to be. Alabama, of course, they won. They move on, but they did win.
True, true. It wasn't a whole bunch of upsets. I will say this much. If it's down to the final bit of it and Notre Dame loses to Clemson the way that they lost to Clemson, regardless of what ranking they were at,
Well, we've got the official standings. Notre Dame has made the playoffs.
they should have made it. I
I,
really don't care.
I agree. I fully agree. I believe Notre Dame doesn't deserve the playoffs because the way they got beat down. And you know what? And Michael Murdoch, me and him were going to argue with this earlier, but I didn't get into it on the chat because I wanted to get into it in here. Ohio State does not deserve to be in the playoffs. I'm sorry. You played 6 games. You don't deserve to be there. I understand games got canceled. Blame your conference. They should have made those games up. Ohio State does not belong in the NCAA playoffs. I think it's horse crap. I think it's bigotry, uh, or not bigotry, excuse me. I think it's favoritism uh, for the Big Ten Conference because they don't want to see 2 ACC and 2 SEC teams in it. But either way, an ACC team or an SEC team is gonna win. So I find this to be the worst decision in this playoff committees ever since they began. Ohio State does not deserve to be in the playoffs. If you disagree with me, okay, who would beat them? Best teams make it. I think Texas A&M would beat them.
Ohio State?
But yes, hold on.
No.
Let me finish. Let me finish. I'm answering Michael Murdoch's question. I think Ohio State would lose to Texas A&M. I think Ohio State would lose to the Florida Gators. I think Ohio State would lose to the Georgia Bulldogs. I can keep going, Michael Murdoch. Tell me, Michael Murdoch, tell me in this chat who Ohio State has played that they deserve to be in the champions in the playoffs. What happened?
He's still
Where's
there.
Rick? Y'all don't deserve it. You only played 6 games. Saban played 11. Florida played 11. Notre Dame played a full schedule. Clemson played a full schedule. You don't deserve it. I understand we're in the middle of a pandemic. Why is Clemson, Alabama, Notre Dame, able to play all their games, and then Ohio State isn't. It's because you're Big Ten puss crap conference.
Look, I agree. I will say this. Yes, they did not play all their games. Now, on the opposite side of the spectrum, did they actually dominate the games like they were supposed to? Indiana gave them a run for the money. Yes, they did.
Northwestern gave them a run for the money.
Look, you can talk about Northwestern all you want to. Northwestern might have been ranked number 9 or 14, whatever they were at that point in time, or 15th, however you want to call it. But Northwestern, who else has the number 1 rush defense in college? Northwestern did. And Sermon almost blew up 300-something yards against them while Justin Fields wasn't even passing the ball. So if they can do it on the ground and they can do it in the air and they're still winning, why not? You already saw Texas A&M get busted up as it was.
By Bama, that's it.
Well, here you go, Sam. You can argue this point. Welcome, Michael D. Murdoch.
Wait, he looks big. Michael Murdoch, how big are you?
He like 6'5", about 230, man.
Oh, you're right. You're
All
right.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you. We got you.
How you doing?
Michael Murdoch's too big.
Welcome to my world, Sam.
Look at the size of this mother. Michael Murdoch.
Cornbread fed.
Why ain't you playing in the NFL?
I decided to join up there instead, man.
What branch?
You know what branch, man. Quit playing.
Murdoch. Corman.
Oh, God, no.
Nice to meet you.
I'm on. I got y'all out of PT sometimes. I'm on.
All right, man.
Not enough.
You're saying what are the reasons why Ohio State shouldn't be in the playoffs, right? Sam?
Yeah, they should.
All right. So tell me who Texas A&M has played and won dominatingly.
Dominatingly, I can't say, but they did beat Florida, right? And we all know Florida.
Okay. Yeah. Florida.
Okay.
Florida.
Hold on. Let me be prepared. Let me be. Y'all talk for a minute. Because I want to truthfully be able to answer this, right?
Hey, Sam.
All right, makes sense.
You remember when Justin came on here and I'm surrounded by 2 FSU fans? Welcome to my world. Justin sleeping. He went night-night.
Playing back on a Tuesday. I was ready to tell you on Wednesday when you guys had that meeting, but I had to work. So.
Yeah, it's all good. So Texas A&M, they're 8-1. Florida now, I'm not even going to give them the props the same way I'm not going to give North Carolina the props. Both of those teams are 8-3. Did they play their full complement of schedules? Sure they did. But what happened? UNC knocked off somebody. UNC loses to Florida State, who canceled the rest of their season. Texas A&M gets destroyed by Alabama. Alabama destroys Florida, technically speaking, or at least they hang a lot of points up on their head. Florida decides to play one game, but neither one of those 2 teams are consistent. Texas A&M, man. Oklahoma, no. I don't see anybody else. Like I said, if you were going to kick out either Ohio State or Notre Dame, in my opinion, yes, you're going to get mad at me, Sam, but if you were going to kick out either one of those and try to throw a bid in for Texas A&M, I'm going to still say no. I would say give Cincinnati. If you're looking for a team, to beat down on, then Cincinnati, just let them go in there and do it.
Put them in there. But, okay, so here is what Texas A&M did this year.
Valley beat Vandy.
They 17-12 against Vandy. Come on, you piece of junk.
Lost 52-24 against Alabama.
My computer froze.
They barely beat Florida by 3 points. Beat Mississippi State by 14, 28-14. Arkansas gave them a run for the money, 42-31. The only person they really, really dominated would have been South Carolina, 48-3.
Right, that's a good one there. However, if you actually have watched these games, you're talking about the last second score, like that's what's final. if you are watching Texas A&M football, they have not been blowing anybody out. And they haven't been doing convincing. Yes, Ohio State struggled. They was beating Indiana 35-3 before they all right, well, we got this win. And they had to win at the end. Yes, I agree with that. But they're winning games consistently and diabolically. Northwestern, they struggled in the first half, and then they took it over in the second half. That defense looked almost flawless. So that's how they compare them. And if you look at Notre Dame has been beating people greatly. It wasn't just, this quarter's good, this quarter's bad. They've dominated day one. They lost one game by getting dominated, but they're winning the other games consistently. Whereas Texas A&M is struggling.
Points. What you guys say about FSU? You want to throw them in here, Sam?
No, I agree. I agree with what Michael's saying, but at the end of the day, Texas A&M played a full schedule of football.
I mean, look at what are the games that Ohio State's lost or didn't play this year? They didn't play Illinois because of COVID. They didn't play Michigan because of COVID.
Michigan got destroyed anyway. It really don't matter. Harbaugh sucks.
They didn't play Maryland either because of COVID.
Nope.
Come on, look at them 3 records and tell me if they were to play them games regardless, would it have been close? I mean, how are you going to sit there and hold that against a team when you already know the result of that game is going to be anyway? That's like Alabama saying, I'm going to play Arkansas, fucking Vanderbilt, and somebody else, but they don't get to play it. Ole Miss. And then they don't get to play it. You already know they're going to win them games. So you can't really hold it against them.
True story. Like I said,
Sorry, guys. My computer froze, and I was trying to get other information. My other laptop froze.
You're good. My argument would be, all right, Ohio State is 6-0. Got it. They lost their games. They did win their championship. They won their championship the year before and still missed the playoffs on some BS stuff. But I'm not holding that necessarily against them. Now, if you're going to sit here and talk about because of the full complement of a schedule, regardless of strength of schedule and who teams won and who they actually lost to whatsoever, Texas A&M, did they even play a championship game? No. So,
but Texas A&M couldn't play a championship game because clearly Alabama was the top in the conference.
Exactly my point, which means that they are second best, if not third best, in a sense, if you're playing one side to the other.
I will make this bet right now. We are live. I will make this bet right now. Clemson beats Ohio State by 20 points.
So Sunshine versus Justin Fields.
20 points.
20 points.
3
you sure you sure you want to make that?
I'm positive I want to make that. Anybody in this chat disagree with me? Anybody?
Let me say this to you, Sam. If we're watching the Ohio State and the Justin Fields that played in the Big Ten Championship, yes, I think Clemson will actually go off. But if Justin Fields gets his head out of his butt and starts getting back on track, and then Trey Sermon shows up like he did in the Big Ten Championship,
that's the best I've seen him run all year.
So, yes, Fields has been playing like crap. That defense was, like I said, they was missing 22 starters this last week because of COVID and other injuries. So that was a big hit, but they have to be ready for Clemson or else they will get mollywopped.
True story.
That Alabama better come prepared because Notre Dame's not a pushover. They might be the most complete team that hasn't been riddled by injuries.
I'll give Notre Dame this. Notre Dame has the best offensive line in the country. I don't believe Notre Dame's quarterback is a great passer. He's a great athlete. He's not a great passer. And I think to beat Alabama, you have to have a good passing offense. And I don't see Notre Dame as that type of offense.
Yeah, I don't know.
But now that my computer's back up working, I want to look up the top 10 real quick. So y'all bear with me. Y'all have a conversation.
I'll say this. If we're going to be talking about teams going because of full complement of schedules, regardless of what conference they are technically in, I say this realistically because I'm still thinking back to BYU. I'm still thinking back to Utah. Perfect teams, perfect records, and they got pushed out of any big bowl game because of what conference they play in. And then when they
BYU,
actually,
but BYU
yes,
lost to Coastal Carolina.
this year, yes. I'm talking about like past years, regardless of the conference they played in. They went back to back seasons 13-0. And then they actually gave them a game that played, I want to say they played an ACC team and they played Utah one time and they blew both teams out the water. So this is why I'm not completely downgrading Cincinnati, regardless of their conference. This is why I'm not completely downgrading BYU, even though they lost to Coastal Carolina, or even if you gave it to Coastal Carolina. Like you said, any given Sunday, any given Saturday. And you get those players going to the smaller schools that don't want to go to the big schools because they either don't have the grades or they don't want to sit there and be backups. Just because the school is smaller does not mean they don't have the athletes. It could just be the coaching philosophy that they don't agree with. And Cincinnati, whatever you want to say, they're still doing work right now.
They are. But do you think Cincinnati could play 4 quarters with any team in the top 4 right now? Any top 4 of your playoffs teams, could Cincinnati play 4 quarters with them?
You look at
Probably not. Go ahead,
yeah.
Murdoch.
You look at the last 3 years. I'm pretty sure it's been the last 3 years. Every year, Cincinnati plays Ohio State, and each year you get the same result. So, no, I don't think that they could. I think they can pull an upset, but as far as winning it completely, I don't think they can pull 2 upsets in a row.
No.
But
give them 2.
Did you ever get the top standings pulled up, Sam? Because I got them pulled up right here.
Same. I've been had them. I just wanted to make them work for it. I'm a bad friend, man. You're muted again.
We already know who your top 4 is. So number 5, Texas A&M. Number 6, Cincy. Number 7, Indiana. I agree with that. 8,
you're looking at AP instead of playoff.
9, Coastal Carolina. 10, playoff.
Yeah, go to the playoff one.
Yeah. In this case, you got Texas A&M at 5, Oklahoma 6, Florida at number 7, which should not be the case. I would at the least bit say give Cincinnati number 8 above Florida and possibly number 6 above Oklahoma, regardless if Oklahoma won. Oklahoma lost to Kansas State, for God's sake. They dropped down, and Georgia at number 9. That rounds off the top 10. Iowa State being that last one at the number 10 spot. So, for me, A&M did not make it into their championship game, which therefore should default knock them down at least a little bit. Florida got blown out, and they're one of the few 8-3 teams that are still in the top 10 besides Iowa State. Both of them should be kicked out of that top 10. Georgia didn't make it to the playoff game, 7-2. I think they had a COVID game also. I would honestly move them out of it. Don't get me wrong, but if your team cannot technically, at least I would say maybe losing 1 game and they could be in there, possibly 2 if there are enough teams that are within that top 5 that have 2-game losses, then I can see some of them being in there. But if you have teams that are 11-0, 10-1, or perfect seasons, regardless of the conference, unless we're talking like a D2 school, then no, they should not be in that top 10. But everybody else that has an 8-3 record, they don't deserve to be up in there, regardless of who their loss was to or not.
And I agree with that. Florida does not deserve to be in the top in the playoff, but Texas A&M should at least replace Notre Dame, because Notre Dame got waxed Saturday. They got waxed.
Didn't Notre Dame and Clemson both struggle with Boston College too?
Boston College has always got they got a weird thing that goes on there. Boston College they play hard as shit, man.
So you're gonna give Boston College a nod, but you ain't gonna give Northwestern a nod. So you're just gonna sleep on the Big Ten like that.
No, I'm not sleeping on them. It's just sometimes Boston College comes out and pulls out some crazy miracles.
Northwestern has pulled out some stuff over the past 3 years.
Sam, I'm about to, once I pull this up, I'll read you what I said on the top 10 on Tuesday. This is before college early championship weekend. But I basically did this in preparation of coming on their podcast and talking to you about it. If this will ever load. Kind of did everything backwards. I got Zoom on my phone and then Facebook on the computer, so it's taking a minute.
Sam, time out. Vanessa said I can take that bet that you said that Clemson is going to beat Ohio State by 20. She said I can take that bet. What's the bet? You haven't said what the bet is yet.
You pick, because I don't want you to get in trouble.
I'll call my entry fee back. Yeah, my entry fee for the fantasy football.
Okay.
All right. Babe, you cool with that? I'll take that as a yes in silence. Got it. So go ahead. My bad, Sam. I interrupted y'all's debate real quick, you know.
I mean, look, if Ohio State would have played a full schedule, they would have ran the table and they'd be undefeated right now. I'm not that stupid. I'm not naive. But it bothers me that they only had to play 6 games.
I can understand that.
That's true. That's true. I think this comes back to what we said at the beginning of the year, anyhow, when literally Ohio State was waiting, or the whole Big Ten, the Pac-12 were all waiting to see how COVID was going to affect the season and the teams. And we saw those completely infatuated or inflated, my fault, inflated rankings with UNC and Georgia. I want to say they had K-State ranked number 4 at one point, and it completely messed up the BCS standings.
Let's be real, right? Let's be real. National championship game is going to be Alabama versus Clemson. Let's just be real about it.
Nah.
So we're in that time. It's just like the NFL. You go to the playoffs, who's going to show up? Yeah, you have a track record of going to the Super Bowl or going to the championship and being good and dominant. However, it is the postseason. Anything can happen, especially in the college level.
That's very true. But where I'll make my argument with there is more likely Ohio State is playing Clemson. And Dabo Swinney, as much as I dislike that guy, always has his team ready to roll.
I won't argue with that one.
And Dabo's had Ohio State's number for the last few years.
This is true.
Ms. Jackson, I will comment on yours just because I got to do this one. I can't hold this one in. Ohio State's players, yes, they are fresh. They are still fresh, just like Outcast, fresh and clean, always, hands down. Even at the end of a season, playing a full season, they're still so fresh and so clean.
I do have an announcement to make real quick. I just got a message from Ermon Lane. He is a former cornerback / wide receiver from Florida State University. He now plays in the Canadian Football League with the Toronto Argonauts. He had some things happen today. He could not make the show. We advertised it, but he could not make the show today as he had some personal situations he had to get handled. So he said he will do the show, but he just cannot do it right now. Wish he'd have told us earlier, but no big deal. Shout out to Ermon Lane for at least texting me and getting back with me. But he will be on the pod at some point, just not tonight.
That's case. Hey, I hope everything works out good for your family and everything. If you see the show, definitely watch it, spread it out, do what you gotta do, show us some love if that's the case. But hopefully everything else goes good and on the personal side for you. And at least thanks for shouting us back out.
And I know you played with Derwin James. He's hurt. He ain't doing nothing. Call him. Tell him, hey, come be on the Savage Sports Pod because I would love to talk with Derwin James.
All right, Sam. So I couldn't really find the post that I broke it down, but I basically went through the top 10 and gave reasons as to why they're places where they should be. So basically, top 4, kind of already assumed I was going to be the top 4 regardless of what happened this weekend. Even if Ohio State were to lose, it would still be a better quality of loss because of the wins that they had. So it would be hard to keep them out. So I kept them in the top 4 regardless. A&M is the quality of loss they got, and then not having a quality win. You could say Florida is a quality win, but Florida just lost at home to LSU. And LSU is not the LSU that we're accustomed to. Losing that game, I think, destroyed Florida and their credibility.
LSU needs to bring back Jamarcus Russell and play quarterback, man.
So I had A&M at 5 still. I put Cincy at 6, which they could have been interchangeable just for the simple fact of they haven't played in almost a month until Tulsa. And for them to even jump into the conversation, they had to blow out Tulsa. Iowa State, I called it last week. I told Griff about it. I thought they were overrated. They lost to Louisiana. That's a big loss. Even at the beginning of the year, that's a big loss. And yes, Louisiana is ranked, but it's still a big loss.
I can't disagree with you on Iowa State.
So here's Ohio State's games they've played so far. They did what they were supposed to do against Nebraska. They beat them 52-17.
Yep.
But here's what gets me. Ohio State versus Penn State, 38-25. Penn State is a very, very bad school right now. They have a very bad program. Just don't go get in the showers with the coaches. Ohio State 49, the Rutgers 27. Indiana, I will give them because Michael Penix Jr. is an excellent quarterback. He's a hell of a ball player. So they beat Indiana 42-35. So I won't knock that, even though it was Indiana, because
again, Indiana put up a good fight that second half of that game.
Ohio State 52, Michigan State 12. They should have beat them like that. Ohio State 22, Northwestern 10. And they're your 6 games. I mean, they're in the playoffs, whether we like it or not. But I don't feel Ohio State deserves that spot. I just
right.
Feel it. I mean, hey, maybe they win it all. Prove me wrong.
And I'm already understood your viewpoint on that and stuff. So like that's why I wasn't really hitting on it now. But continue down the list. So we're at 6, and like I said, these next ones can be interchangeable. So I have Coastal Carolina in there. Georgia is hot. Georgia was a team at the end of the year that you did not want to play, just as Oklahoma is a team that you do not want to play right now. They have quality losses that are bad, and that's what messed them up. And in the end, that's why they're not even in the discussion. But Oklahoma is hot. Then you look at Indiana. Indiana's one loss was to Ohio State. Indiana's defense is top 10 in the league. So, yes, losing Penix was a great quarterback, and that literally strode. Indiana played Wisconsin, and I'm pretty sure that was Indiana's last game.
Yeah.
The number of games that Indiana played is what ultimately hurt them.
And Northwestern beat Wisconsin.
Right. So, yeah, the last game Indiana played was Wisconsin.
Thought they were.
What's up?
So you saying Wisconsin pulled a UNC? He froze. Facebook don't like Sam.
Wisconsin wasn't the team we thought they were. Wisconsin, their last games, they look like crap.
True.
So I'm looking at Indiana's games right now. And from the start, you had the questionable win over Penn State. Was he down or was he in? Then go to Rutgers. Defense won the game. Go to Michigan, beat them by 17. Michigan was ranked at the time. Destroyed Michigan State 24-0. Came back against Ohio State, beat Maryland by 16, and then beat Wisconsin in a defensive juggernaut game because Penix was out, and they beat them 14-6 at Wisconsin. Everybody knows that playing in Madison is one of the – it's not – I'm not going to put it up there with playing at Alabama or playing at the Big House or, something different like that.
It's a tough place to go into.
Right. And that was the last game they played. And I think that's what ultimately hurt them, but I still think they're a top 10 team. You can't put a Florida in there that has lost 3 games, and one of them was terrible, especially at their home field.
Yeah.
I'm saying let the little man eat, man. Let the little dude eat. That's all I want to see. Let Cincinnati eat.
See, damn it, y'all are going to make me give Florida credit. I think Florida benched a few key players looking ahead to that Alabama game. They benched Pittman. Nothing was wrong with Pittman. Their tight end. They benched him to rest him for Alabama. And that's Cal Trask's number 1 target. And I imagine they beat a few others.
Look, if coaching is that dumb, then they don't deserve to be in the playoffs, all right? That's Florida's fault.
Not only that, but look what Ohio State just did. They lost their number 1 receiver and has been almost their number 1 receiver the last 3 years. And they still beat Northwestern.
Hey.
Olave was out.
Fun fact about the LSU Florida game. LSU starting quarterback was Brad Johnson's son. Brad Johnson played quarterback at Florida State. So, hey, it's basically like Florida State beat. Fun facts.
You talking about Brad Johnson that played for Tampa Bay, right?
Yep, he was a Florida State Seminole.
That's why his career was so short.
I didn't get a chance to watch you guys.
Does he have a ring?
What do you think of the Oregon USC game?
Man, I thought that was a very sloppy game by USC. I'm not a fan of Oregon because of their fan base and as much shit as they talked after they beat Florida State in the Rose Bowl.
Yes, auntie history.
2014. Oregon played good though. Their D line just ate up USC's quarterback. That guy had no time to throw. But again, Pac-12, little sister conference. We rarely talk about. Well, you're a fan of the show. We rarely talk about them. They're that irrelevant. I honestly think we need to knock them out instead of a Power 5. I think we need to go to Power 4. Big 10, Big 12, ACC, SEC.
Wait, who'd you say at first?
Big 10.
Oh yeah, I just figured you put them at the top because they're the best conference still.
No, I give Big 10. I give Big 10 mad respect because the rich history of the Big 10. Ohio State, Michigan when they were Michigan. Not this Michigan we see now. Penn State before they started showering them with little boys.
Michigan State. Before they did it.
Wisconsin. Really good teams, really good powerhouses. There's a lot of tradition. I'm actually a fan of the Big 10. I just like messing with Griff. I honestly enjoy watching Big 10 football because they do have such great traditions.
I won't disagree. This is what I would say, because everybody is all about conference strength, right? If you honestly really, really want to test everybody's conference strength, so let's just put it like this. Let's break it down. Each team plays 12 games, right? Roughly. So out of those 12 games, 6 to 7 in those games should be out of conference. Point blank. Like nobody in a conference, nobody on the like east side or the west side or whichever way it goes, completely out of conference. Pac-12, Big 12, SEC, ACC. I don't care if you go down to the MAC or Mountain West, whichever way it goes. But if you really, really want to sit there and make it unbiased and figure out which teams are the best, which teams are like has the strongest actual conference, then go ahead, have them play outside of their conference, point blank. So that way you can see, even if it's you going up against whatever, if you want to call it Alabama versus Ohio State right off the back, like first game of the season, I really wouldn't even care. But regardless which team loses, at the end of the year, you're going to see which team actually bounced back. And if they actually had a chance, so be it. Then they're going to fight for their chance to be back in that bowl game. But not go out and be like, oh, hey, you said play out of conference games. Look at this. We're going to be Miami, and our first game of the year is Citadel. No.
And then, so, you know how the NFL. Go ahead, Sam.
At the same time, though, when Citadel plays those teams like Miami, like Ohio State, that does give that team a good amount of money. They actually bank.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue at that one, but
here's something I want to toss at you two guys. And this was thrown out, I want to say several years ago and played with a little bit and talked about. So each conference has about 14 teams?
Yeah.
Give or take 1 or 2, yeah.
What if we went from 5 conferences, like I said earlier, to 4 conferences? And we did a big expansion on each conference, and you separated each conference like they are now into divisions.
You can't. You leave off the whole West Coast.
Well, no.
Into them.
I know, but you're still going to leave off the whole West Coast because it's going to be ACC, SEC, Big 10, and Big 12. That's going to be the 4 conferences.
So the Big 10 has 12 teams?
Pitt, West, Michigan, Ohio, Northwestern, Michigan State, Nebraska. Roughly, I want to say 12.
Okay, let's just go with 12. Okay, so you move USC, Colorado, Oregon, let me think, Washington, over to the Big 10. In the Big 12, you move Oregon State, you move who else would you pick from
Arizona State, Nevada, possibly, Utah.
Right.
Arizona.
You move the Arizona teams and just break it down, and then break the divisions down, make them have the championship, and then the 4 best teams from each division go to.
Well, you can come into. You can get a problem with that though. Is how many teams are going to be undefeated in their division and not be able to play in the championship because there's too many teams? Are you going to break it down into more divisions, or
move to an 8-team playoff, right? And let's do it that way.
Well, so you're just taking the 2 top teams from each division, regardless, before they even play their BCS championship or their conference championship. Then, so you're going to get that 1 team, even if let's just say both teams, their second teams on each side of the conference were 6-6 for whatever reason whatsoever, and you have that team that is 10-1 and the other team that is 11-0, and the 10-1 team loses, but yet the second team behind them is 6-3. They get to go to the BCS. I don't know.
Well, why don't we do something like this? You play a division, but I'm saying so you're going to play your conference regardless. But in your out of conference games, you are required to play 2 of the other heads of that college. So take Ohio State. Ohio State wins the Big 10. So there are 2 games they either have to pick from Alabama, Clemson, Oregon, Texas, Oklahoma, Iowa State. So you have to pick another game that's going to be relevant, not just playing a Citadel and stuff. Now you could pick them up because you ultimately will end up having 3 to 4 non-conference games. So you can still help them little schools out, but you're still required to play an actual team outside of your conference.
Making it have to be a top 25 team or a top 15 team if they do have it. And then you can
Right.
pick whichever other team that has to be at least in the top 50 to have some kind of credit whatsoever.
And you just work like that. So you take a Purdue that would they go this year?
Forgot about Purdue and Iowa, man.
Yeah. In the Big Ten, there's 14. So Purdue goes 2-4 this year. So they're gonna play a lower level team in one of the other power conferences in order to like justify the means of saying, hey, we still went out, we still played a good team for our level.
Right.
Because
top 10 or top 15, as Jackson Sam.
I think we can all agree that your Vanderbilts, your Purdue's, your teams of that nature be knocked down out of Division I contention.
Yeah, just out of politics by itself, those basically.
They're never going to be competitive.
But if you can't really think it that way, though, because look at Indiana 3 years back. Indiana wasn't even relevant. And now Indiana came in and they are turning that program around.
Right.
And State did it.
That coach had a huge culture shift.
Yeah. And let me with this. Mac Browning's a great coach, but North Carolina is overrated.
Oh, big time.
Like,
I am so happy that they beat Miami. Like
they didn't beat Miami. They beat the brakes off of Miami. Get it right. Don't let you say that.
They beat Miami like they stole the mama's purse, and they found out. And they showed up to the crib.
Like we already knew that the standings and the rankings this year are going to be a lot of problems because it's a weird year. You didn't get to play out of conference. You didn't really get to see what teams outside of the conference are going to look like. So, yes, it's going to be a weird year, but they started the season at, 5? Like, when has North Carolina ever been a top 25, top 20 team to put them at 5?
It's been a while.
Yeah. I mean, granted, with the ACC, how it is, well, if you keep Notre Dame in there, but you have Clemson.
Hey, where's Major at, since we talking about the ACC?
Major was here. He probably fell asleep or something like that. He getting old, man. He took his probiotics and went to sleep.
Y'all tell Major I said they need to stop ducking FSU.
What is the problem with Notre Dame? Notre Dame had the chance to join a conference and come to the Big Ten when Nebraska came. And Notre Dame said, no, we want to pick our games individually.
Yeah, and Notre Dame joined the ACC, but only in basketball.
Right.
I think we let Notre Dame control too much.
Because it's still a private school for the most part, and it's just down there by itself. I mean, it's on the political side of it and stupid. If they sit there and still control their own destiny, like we said, they can go out and play teams like Citadel, Michigan State that's having a down year and pick their own schedule and still make it to the point where they're almost competitive because they're blowing out the teams, but yet they don't get hit for their strength of schedule, though. And it's
honestly,
stupid.
I don't even believe Notre Dame should join the ACC. I believe, like Michael said, they should go to the Big Ten. That makes sense.
They're in the middle of Big Ten country. Why would they go to the ACC?
I know they went to the ACC to boost their basketball. Same with Florida State. Back in 91, Florida State was given the option to join the SEC or the ACC. Well, the powers that be said, we want to go ACC because of we want to build a basketball program.
Right.
And then, of course, we built the ACC. Florida State made the ACC what it is today. But
right.
But yeah,
boycott them. This is what I'm saying. Boycott Notre Dame, regardless of however you want to put it. If they don't want to join the actual conference in football, but yet they want to get the clout for being a top 10, top 5 school, then all the top 10 schools, there were top 25 schools, all the big programs that normally would play them, tell them, no, we can't play you because you're not part of a conference, and leave them playing Citadel and Appalachia State and Montana and everybody else. That way they don't get any bragging rights. Kick them out.
Well, look at this.
What the Notre Dame's number one issue is? They're getting NBC money, and they want to keep that NBC money.
Yeah, I still don't care. Then if that's the case, regardless of their NBC money, then make them play the smaller schools.
think of how many playoff games Notre Dame's been looked over by the committee because they didn't play a championship game. And then they play one this year, and then you know what they said?
We're not going to play.
We're
Yeah.
going independent. We're not coming to join the ACC.
And that was the thing. They only joined the ACC this year to get games because nobody can play them. So they joined the ACC with only intentions of helping themselves. And then they're like, oh, yeah, we're not. They came out and said, we're not going to play in a playoff game if fans aren't allowed. Now, Clemson stepped up and Dabo stepped up behind him. He's like, yeah, that's understandable. We're not going to do that, blah, blah, blah. But made the whole college football committee move the game from the Rose Bowl to Texas. What team should have that much power to say, we just got blown out by 28 points, 30 points, whatever, but even if we don't make it, we're still not going to play it? How does that make any sense?
I got a question. Griff, why are we just now getting Mr. Murdoch on the show?
Because he's been busy, man. He's been busy.
The man's knowledge. The man he's full of knowledge.
He's all right.
He don't want me to talk NFL with him.
Even though you're a Buckeye fan, we're going to have to bring you into the
I've done this to save you, man. I've done this to save you, Sam. This is all that was. And that Steelers shirt, too, though. I couldn't have all that going on there. But I've done this to save you. I couldn't have you surrounded by Buckeye fans.
Well, I think I've talked about all I need to talk about tonight. Griff, do you have anything you want to touch on?
Nah, nothing too much besides stay tuned for Monday and see what happens with Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. I mean, apparently these last 2 or 3 weeks, unfortunately, have been upsets for some of these power teams. So I would not say be surprised if Cincinnati wants to come out and do some damage for God knows whatever reason. I mean, Giants done it. Washington's done it. Dallas did it. I mean, teams that shouldn't be winning, and they're doing it. So I would not say be surprised if it does happen. I'm not necessarily banking on the Steelers losing to Cincinnati, especially without Burrow. If Burrow was still there, then I might put a little bit more on that one. College-wise, yeah, we just got to see what happens. It might be some upsets. You might honestly have an Ohio State, Notre Dame. Yeah, the Bears did do it against Minnesota, but they have Kirk Cousins, so I'm not really counting that. That's like a battle of two sucky quarterbacks going head to head and seeing which one has the uglier toes. I don't know.
Next Wednesday, when we come back to you guys, we will have an answer on some of these bowl games. I've noticed a lot of teams opting out of the bowl games and said they're not going to play with invited. So hopefully we'll have info on that. But as usual, thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the support. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on YouTube. And not to mention Monday or Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday nights or Sunday nights. You can find us right here, Facebook Live, talking what we love, football.
And Hector Alfaro, glad you could actually make it. Your Bears actually won today, even though Trubisky still sucks. Murdoch.
Rookie of the year is not Justin Jefferson. It is not Clay.
It's wide receiver.
Okay. I was going to say, rookie of the year, without a doubt, has to go to Herbert. The dude has been doing monster work. His defense is failing him.
Yeah. All because they're missing Derwin James.
Look, you have no room to talk about Derwin James, Ramsey, or anybody when they lost to the Jets. Okay, there is no. You lost all that.
We got to end the podcast.
But thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. It's always fun talking.
No problem, Michael. Anytime you want to come do the show, please come on back. I'd love to have you. A great conversation tonight.
That's because we Buckeyes. We know what we're talking about.
One Buckeye knows what they're talking about. I give it to Michael Murdoch. We don't know about that Titan fan up here.
Eddie George was a Buckeye. Eddie George was a Titan. Blasphemous, Sam. Blasphemous.
Oh, man.
But look, yes, thanks for everyone.
Facebook got you again. What Sam is saying right now, even though you can't hear him, thanks for tuning in. Hit us up on Spotify, hit us up on iTunes, Facebook. We got it Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Hey, we got you. Tune in, and hopefully we get our guests from next week too. Sam left the group and everything, came back on, but we'll see y'all on Wednesday with the update on the college. Murdoch, again, appreciate you popping on here, man, and hit us up whenever you got some free time, man.
Of course. Have a good one.
You too. I stopped the live stream.